Hey y'all, Shelby here from Scarlet Sky Designs. So today I'm going to quickly show you guys some different ways that you can paint our DIY Easter eggs. Today I just have two of our smalls. So I'm just going to do the small size of these. The thing that I love about these is that you've got, this front side, which is the shiplap side. And then on the back side, you've got a blank slate basically. So I'm going to show you guys two different techniques that I'm going to do with these. Okay. First things first, I'm going to set that down right there. I'm going to take this one and just put it off to the side, which I will grab in just a little bit. I already have some of my paints already laid out. I just like to use a paper plate and I throw my different colors in this paper plate. I can mix on this. As you can see, I added a little bit of water to each one of these. I've already stirred a little bit. For these two colors right here, just because I was messing around with them, I've got some of the Waverly chalk paint. This is easy to find, just at your local Walmart. This is, I don't know if you guys, there we go. This is the white color. These are just their little trial size. These are great for painting. The one thing about chalk paint though, is I like to add a little water to it because it's really thick. So I always add a little bit of water to that. I also right here have the Waverly as well in the Lagoon color. That's this blue right here. So I'm gonna be using these two tonight for this egg where we're gonna do a different color pattern for the shiplap. So I've got those ready to go. And then on top of that, just a couple of things just so you guys can see what I've got going on here. I've already started to make a little bit of a mess. So I just use these little containers. I got them at the Dollar Tree. I think they come in a group of 3. They have like a little lid that goes with them. I just use these kind of as little trash cans. I just throw it away once I'm done with everything. So I've got those over there and ready to go. I've got a cup of lukewarm water. This is just an old cup that I keep this in. I use this to dip my brushes in just to make sure that my brushes stay moist. So I've got that over here on my side. Like I told you guys, I've already been messing around and painting quite a bit today, as you can probably see from my hands. And I've just got my bowl of water that I throw my brushes into afterwards, just sitting over to the side. Now, what's under me today, because we've been painting so much, is I've just got what we used as some old fencing. When we built our garden, we had some of this fencing left, and we just basically used it as, sorry about the sound that's just coming on. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that or not, but Shane's in there cutting wood for me right now. So we're a little busy this weekend, but we just use these as our drying racks. They're fantastic. So we got this at Tractor Supply. I'm sure you can get it at like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that as well, or your local Ace Hardware. So I've just got that right here under here as a drying rack. I don't always paint with this under me, especially when I'm doing my DIYs, but like I said, we just have so much going on today that I've got this under me. I've also got a couple of different types of brushes with me. These right here, like this one, the Fine Touch. I think, yep, this one's a Fine Touch brush. This one's a Crafter's Choice. These are some of the brushes that I like to use. As you can see, there's different types of heads on them. I've got a couple more to the side. Some of them are angled and so forth. Oops, as I dropped that one right there. I just got these at Hobby Lobby. I like to go when they have the 50% off sale. I've got lots of different sizes. I've even got some more of like the detail brushes right over here. These orange ones all came in a set. I think maybe we paid $5 for the set. It might have even been less than that. In terms of, let me put those to the side really quick. These right here, these 12s, I think there's like a 6 in here, or there's an 8. There's a set of these at Hobby Lobby as well. And I think we bought something like 20 or 30 brushes in that set, and they're all different sizes. That one is pretty cheap. I roll through these brushes pretty fast, painting a lot of details and so forth. So again, I just like to go when they're having a sale and grab some of these sets of brushes. Same thing with these. I prefer like a flat head on my brushes. Again, personal choice on these, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. Again, sometimes I'll use angles for more detail and so forth. Tonight, we don't have a piece that we're gonna do a lot of detail on, but when we get into some of those other ones, I'll show you guys how we use those. For one of our later projects, I just have a little chip brush with me. This is just a little 1-inch one that I got at Joann's. I think it was like 99 cents, maybe even less. I'm sure I had a coupon or something as well. So there's that one. Let's see what else I've got with me to paint tonight. Oh, I've got this little tool that I got at the Dollar Tree. As you can see, it's got a pretty sharp end. A lot of people use these for like weeding and scoring and so forth. You know, I'm gonna use this to actually keep the inners in here if I get paint in there, just to slide that out. Sorry for that sound right now. I also, instead, I kind of prefer to use just a little push pin. I think it's easier to really get in there, and it's easier for me to hold than this big bulky tool, but I just wanted to show you guys both of them. So I've got those two. I've also got some baby wipes with me tonight. These are fantastic to have just to help you clean up little mistakes on your project and so forth. So let me go ahead on and get started. I've also got my easel for this one, as you can see, over to the side. I'll paint that one as well so you can see what it'll look like at the end. So let's go ahead on and get painting. Again, on my color palette board right here, I've got my whites, a little bit of water already in those and ready to go. So I'm gonna take one of my brushes. Again, I'm gonna add just a little bit of water to it. And then, you can't see it right now, but I've just got a little cloth over here. I'm just gonna kind of dry that off in there. You can also use a paper towel, just like a, you know, a dampened paper towel. I'm gonna grab some of my white paint and I'm just gonna start going to town. So on this one, let me move that out of the way really quick. Move my baby wipes over to the side. So for this one, like I was saying, I'm just gonna do a pattern of this. I'm gonna go white, blue, white, blue, white, blue, white, blue. What you can do for this is you can either paint the whole thing white first, or you can just go straight down the line and follow your colors down. I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna go straight down and just start painting these. And again, you know, do your best to try and stay out of the other section, but if you happen to get some in there like I have on those, don't worry. We're gonna clean those up in just a second. Let me just get my initial coat on there so that you guys can see. So there goes my initial coat. And like I said a little while ago, let me grab that baby wipe out as promised. Here's just my baby wipe. I'm gonna put it on the edge of my finger and then just quickly clean up along those creases. I like to run my fingernail into the crease just to kind of get that clean. As you can see, you know, some of that kind of like soot will come out. That's okay, don't worry about it. You can also clean up your edges along the side if you want to. I don't worry too much about my edges. Some people I know like to clean them up. Totally up to you what you want to do there, okay? So there's my initial one. We add just a little bit more white on there to get a little bit more coverage on this top. Personally, I like to do 2 coats. Again, that's your preference. I know some people are fine just putting 1 coat on here. I'm more of a 2 coat full coverage person. So that's what I like to do. All right, I'm just gonna keep going straight down the line. I'm sure with the magic of videos and everything that we can do now, I'm probably gonna speed this up right here so you guys don't have to listen to me going all the way through this the entire time, but we're just gonna keep going so you guys can see. Okay, so through what I'm sure right there was the power of video and speeding through, so you guys didn't have to watch me and listen to me painting all of those. You can see I got my first coat of white on. And again, especially with, you know, your first initial coats, You know, don't worry too much about getting some white in there and some other places. We're covering it up with that blue, so it'll cover up all that white. The one thing we do want to go ahead on and make sure we do is that we just go through those lines and clean up any of that white paint that might have gotten in there. So again, I'm just going to go straight through using my push fin, and I'm just going to clean right out of those scored lines right there. We want to make them look nice and fresh for our shiplap. Once this is all done, you know, one thing especially with this, you guys, and I apologize for the sound, but it does really work well. But one thing with this is you don't have to be an expert painter to be able to do all of this. I personally love painting, but I by no means call myself an expert. You know, this is all about having fun. And if you make a mistake, you make a mistake, right? That's why we have baby wipes and we have colors that we can put on top, and we've got, you know, all those different things, and we've got our cross stitch patterns that we can put over the top of it, right? So don't worry if you make a mistake, or a bow or something along those lines. All right, just have fun with this. Okay, next thing, we're going to go one more just coverage of white, right? And then we're going to move on to our blue right afterwards. So let me get a little bit more white and let's go. Okay, so now we've got most of our white done. Again, just like earlier, gonna go straight through with this. And we've got clean egg in terms of our lines and everything. So now we're gonna go ahead on and get started on our blue. Now, as you guys were watching me paint, you probably saw me go across first, more of a horizontal stroke, and then I went back vertical again so I could stay with the grain of the wood. Again, your choice how you want to paint it. That's just one of the things that I do. I like to finish my final coat just with the grain of the wood. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead on and start with our blue. Again, that's the Laguna color. Let's see if you can see that. It's just that Waverly paint. So we're going to go ahead on and get started and go with those extra lines. You know, for the Laguna, I'm probably gonna be and try to be a little bit cleaner with those than I was obviously with the white. The blue can easily go over the white. But with this one, I'm gonna actually use a finer detailed brush to do the blues so I don't hit quite as much into my scored lines and my white. If I get some in there, that's okay. You know, we can always clean back over it with a little bit of the white. It's not the end of the world. So we're gonna go ahead on and get started. And again, got my brush a little bit wet there. I already wet this blue paint a little bit. I'm gonna get a little bit more in there, and I'm just gonna use my baby wipe for this one over here. If you guys can see that, to keep some of that moisture in there so I can keep painting. All right, and here we go. right, you guys. I think after cleaning up a couple of those little spots in there, I think now just with a quick clean through of all of our lines, I think we're gonna be good to go. So let me go ahead on and just go right through that. Again, apologies for the sound here. We just wanna make sure those lines are clean. Try to get the end of your push pin right in there, or if you're using a scoring tool, just try to get those right in there. Really get a good clean on them. I'm gonna go on to this next one. There we go. Let me get right in this one pretty well. I think I got some blue in that one. Yep, there we go. Let me start pulling that away. There we go. A little bit more down here. I really want to get into that one. There we go. And this last one just right in there. I think just a little bit more white paint on this one spot. Just go right over that one more time. Set that 8 down just a little bit and get right in there. Just on that one spot where I got a little too aggressive with cleaning it up. And I think once this thing dries, we are good to go with this one. All right, so there's a pretty quick example on how you could paint that one. If you guys wanted to go really fast with this one, you could go all white, you could go all blue. You know, that would be a pretty fast one. If I was gonna do that, I would just take one of my foam brushes or like a chip brush and just go straight through and just worry about cleaning up my lines. But if you want more of this striped effect, you know, that's a pretty easy way of doing it. You know, just check your colors beforehand, make sure you're matching them pretty well to your pattern of your cross stitch that you're gonna be using, or if you just wanna match it to your home decor, you could do that too. So there's a quick example of how to finish one of our DIY Easter eggs. Now I'm gonna show you guys one more, but this time, let me switch these really quick. I'm actually gonna use the back side, which is the clean side of our Easter egg. You know, this one over here has the shiplap stripes. I'm gonna go ahead on and use the back side. Now we don't need our tool anymore because we don't have any scored lines. Let me go ahead on, I'm done with the 2 brushes that I used earlier. Go ahead on and put them in my pot of water over here. Now for this side back here, I'm gonna actually use the Waverly Ivory. Can you see that right there? Yep, Waverly Ivory is what I'm gonna use for this one. I'm gonna coat the entire back with this, and then I'm gonna use just a little bit of the Waverly Antique Wax and give it just a totally different look in general with it. And I'll show you guys how I did that. So let me go ahead on, I'm just gonna shake up my ivory just a little bit. So there we go. I do have one clear spot on my board over here. So I'm gonna go ahead on and add my ivory onto that. And for this one, because I'm gonna go full coverage, I am gonna just use one of my foam brushes. Let me grab that really quick. I left that over here. So excuse me for just a minute. I'm gonna use just one of my regular old foam brushes. Get a little bit of water in that. I'm gonna use this right here. I know it's got a little bit of blue in it. Normally I would go in and switch my water out, but for the sake of time, we're gonna let that stay in there just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead on, get my brush in there, and I'm gonna go to work, just starting to paint. And I just wanna go ahead on and try to cover the best I can, straight across. Again, with this lighter color, I'll probably go ahead on and do 2 coats of this one, possibly 3. I just want to go ahead on and see what it looks like after this first coat and then determine from there. Let me add a little bit more water from over here into this and really get this kind of mixed up into there so we can keep going. Again, you probably want to do this on the flat surface. Like I said, we were doing a lot of painting today, so I've got this drying rack under me, but that's all right. We're just gonna keep on going here. I'm gonna go ahead on and let that dry for just a second. Like I said, I have little heaters in my painting space right now. We had an unexpected little winter frost come through here in Texas, pretty late in the season, at least for us. So it's kind of cold in here right now. We're sitting at about maybe 35 degrees. So I've just got one of those big dishes set out as my heater, you know, like you see them in Costco when you walk in. So I'm just gonna let this sit for just a second, and I'm gonna throw it in front of the heat dish, and then we should be good to go to paint again. So let me do that. All right, and we are back with our egg dried. We're gonna go in for our second coat here. I actually think 2 coats might be okay with this one. So you can, with this painting, I get a little bit more aggressive with my strokes when I'm doing something like this. You know, where I've just got a little bit bigger space to move around in and hold on to the piece. Again, once I get into this top part, I like to hold up here on the top and just paint down on the side. Each one of us is going to paint a little bit different, so feel free to paint it however you would like to. You know, there's really no right or wrong way as long as you like your finished product. That's how I look at it. And then I'm a little bit more of a messy painter. I know people that are much cleaner painters than I am, but I like that whole process of it, of actually feeling like you are really getting in there painting. And, you know, a lot of my clothes have paint all over them now, just with as much as I paint. So again, I'm just gonna get in there, really get this second coat on there. And then we're gonna let this second coat dry. And we're gonna see what it looks like once that one has dried. So let me set this to the side. We're gonna do one quick dry, really quick on this one. All right, so after looking at my egg, I actually decided to go ahead on and do a third coat on this one. It just looked like it needed it. You know, some of my paint got a little thick and I just wanted to give it one more smooth layer of paint on there. I really took my time to smooth things out on this last one. So I'm gonna go ahead on and let this one dry. And then we're gonna go into a different kind of dry brushing technique to make this egg right here look a little more antiqued and older. So I'll be right back with that in just a minute. All right, you guys, so my egg is dry now, as you can see. I went ahead on, while that was drying, I was messing with some other things. So I went ahead on and just took some of my Waverly wax, and that, as you guys can see, that antique wax, and I just put it right over here, took one of my 1-inch chip brushes, and now I'm gonna go ahead on and finish off this egg. So what I'm gonna do, and you guys can see, I was already messing with some other things, but I'm just gonna take my egg, put my brush in there. I'm just gonna kind of beat it over in here just a little bit so I can get an idea on the look of that. Now, using my egg right here, I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna hug those sides all the way around. And I'm gonna hug it pretty darn close. As you guys can see, I'm literally right up against it. And don't worry if you get some in some of these little spots in here, it'll be okay. It'll add to the overall effect of this at the end. And again, we're just hugging right along those sides. I'm gonna keep going through, just all the way around on this one. Just hugging close to my edges, all across in here. I'm just gonna keep on going here. All right, so there's the start of this. Now I could go around again if I wanted to, which I probably will do just to give a little bit more on some of these sides, but we're just using this to give this more of an antique look. So let me keep going just a little bit more. All right, so I'm starting to like the look of that quite a bit. As you can see, I got a little bit of splatter in here. That's okay. I could either go in right now, try to clean it off with my baby wipe, or I can just do just a little dab of paint and just go straight over it with just one of my other paintbrushes, which I might do in a little bit. Plus the fact most of my cross stitch is going to cover over this anyways, or a bow, so I can just leave it like that. Now, if you wanted to from here, you could leave this as is, or you could go ahead on in and start doing that same technique throughout the egg all over it to give it an overall look of kind of a distressed fill. So I'm gonna go ahead on and leave mine here. I like the look of that one. Now, while I was off camera, I also went ahead on and painted, let me grab the other one, my easels just so you guys can look and see. I didn't get in here kind of in those back sides because you're not gonna see those anyways. So I just went ahead on and painted mostly, you know, this front part, which somebody would see if I had this positioned with my egg on top of it. So if I wanted to now, I could do that same technique and kind of make this look a little bit more distressed, go all the way around. Totally up to you guys what you want to do with that one. If we were fully finished at this point, we could just set that right on there. And that's what our egg would look like done. More than likely what I would do is I would go ahead on and probably go through and distress this just a little bit, just for the overall look of it. Or I could just paint it, you know, that antique wax kind of brown color, or I could go in and paint it a black instead. That's completely up to you guys. So really quick, I'm gonna grab my other designs, and I just wanna show you guys some of the differences that we have here in our eggs. So give me just a minute. All right, you guys, and finishing up, I just wanted to go through and show you guys a couple of different techniques and finishes that we've looked at and I've shown already for our Easter egg design. Obviously, you guys remember this one. This was my first finish that I showed. This was the pink and white with the ribbon from, I believe, Hobby Lobby is where I got that ribbon. Hobby Lobby or Joann's, now I can't remember. But I stitched Honey Bunny by Priscilla and Chelsea, Stitching with the Housewives. I added that on there with some fabric, and now I know that fabric came from Hobby Lobby that I have as the backing board there. That's in our pink and white. I also, very similar to that, finished the blue and white for you guys tonight and showed you how easy it is to do that. So again, two very similar finishes here. Quick, easy to do. And then we also had our ivory over here where I distressed it and made it look a little more vintage with that antique wax. I think, truthfully, out of these three, this one is probably my favorite look. I actually already have a pattern that I'm working on, and I can't wait to finish it so that I can fully finish it on this egg and show you guys. I just love the way that this looks. You know, I think if you have kind of that farmhouse vintage look in your house, this will be an excellent addition to it. So I just wanted to show you guys that one really quick. I also have one more egg that I finished recently. So for this one, this is actually our larger sized egg. I did a white chalk paint on this one using the shiplap side of this, and then use that same technique that I had with our ivory egg. I just did that right across the edges, and then actually let me grab my chip brush. I'll show you guys. So with this one, I actually went in, and instead of just leaving it, I kind of went in and just smooshed it around all over the place, you know, grabbing a little paint here and there and just smooshing that in. So I just wanted to show you guys this one as well. Another different look that you can do with this. There are so many options out there. I can't wait to see all of your finishes with this. I get so excited when I see all of them. Again, I just wanted to thank you all so much for tuning in with us today. And like I said, I can't wait to see your finishes. And if you fully finish something, make sure you tag us in it. Tag us with Scarlet Sky Designs TX or Scarlet Sky Designs. We look for both of them. So we can't wait to see those finishes by you guys. Again, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead on and hit that like down at the bottom so I know what kind of content to continue producing for you guys. And we have lots of other videos with painting techniques and floss tubes and out of the boxes coming out, so make sure you subscribe. You guys have a wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye, you guys.